So, again, the WNBA rescinds a call. Shock. Absolute shock. A bad call against a rookie. Absolute shock. They rescinded Angel Reese's ejection. What does that mean? It means obviously she just has one less technical foul towards a suspension. But still, shock. Absolute shock. The WNBA referees make a horribly bad call. I don't know what. Ego? I don't know. They're just terrible. But anyway, before we get on to it, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We've just hit 6.1k, which is incredible. Huge thank you guys for all the support recently. But anyway, now let's get on to the game. To the video, not game. So, Angel Reese last night got ejected. I made a video talking about it and just talking about how it was absolutely ridiculous. And I genuinely had people in my comment section. And this is the one crazy thing about it is like, people in my comment section were like, Angel Reese deserved to be ejected. She like belittled the referees. She said that's BS. That's cursing at ref. It's an automatic ejection. All of this kind of stuff. And it was basically the same comments from the other side when Kennedy Carter cheap shot at Caitlin Clark saying Caitlin Clark deserved it. The same type of thing where it's like people's biases are making sure they don't see what is right in front of them. Obviously, Caitlin Clark it was a cheap shot, probably almost certainly targeted by Kennedy Carter. And in this situation, the referees, I don't know, had some sort of power trip. I really don't know what happened, but the referees decided, you know what, we're going to call some BS on Angel Reese. We're going to kick her out of the game. We're going to make it so that this unbelievable basketball game is only remembered because of us. Because of us. We're going to make sure we're remembered. If you guys don't know, like, Breanna Steward had a 33-14 game. She had her best game of the year. Breanna Steward had the best game she's played in quite a while. Kennedy Carter came off the bench and balled out. Marina Mabrey has been consistently one of the best players, one of the best offensive players I've seen this year. With her just all-around game. Sabrina Ionescu balled out. No one cares, though, because they chucked out Angel Reese with 2 minutes to go and the game was already over for no reason. Again, it is just referees making the game about themselves. They're making calls. What did Angel Reese do? She said that's BS. Obviously, is the full word to the referee. Rightful technical foul. And then kind of like just threw her hand, walked away and just kind of threw her hand up. I'm like, you can't throw someone out for that. And for all people being like, oh, she swore, you have to throw her out. Like, so when Caitlin Clark said, that's an effing foul to the referee, it should have been an ejection. No, technical foul is the right call, especially in high-level sport. Especially, you don't want to throw people out that the fans are there to see. I know the game is already over for Angel Reese, and I get it. I don't want to hear, oh, no fans are there for Angel Reese because the stadium isn't anywhere near full. And I get it. A lot more fans come to see Caitlin Clark, but there are quite a lot of fans. I would say there might be 15,000 people a game to see specifically Caitlin Clark, but there might be 2,000 extra people a game to see Angel Reese. Obviously has not had she's not been the reason for the growth as much as Caitlin Clark, obviously, but to say none of these players are reasons for growth is crazy. But at the end of the day, she got chucked for no reason. And now the WNBA have rescinded the second technical foul and have basically just said, you know what, nah. So she's not going to get her fine. She's not going to get, it's not going to count towards suspension. And it's another situation where you're like, you got to hold referees accountable. You got to hold poor refereeing accountable. That's the one thing I will say when it comes to WNBA is that it's not like the poor refereeing has been one of the biggest talks of the league. And it's not even like the NBA, where you're like, oh, they just let away a bunch of calls. They're just not great at their jobs. Look, the NBA refs are the best referees in the world. I think that the only problem with it is that sometimes they're able to get away with a bit too much because of the protections. It's not like, say, in EuroLeague, where if you have 2 or 3 bad games in a row, they're not going to hire you for any more games and you're going to lose your money. But at the end of the day, these WNBA refs are so bad. They are unbelievably bad. Like, you will find better referees reffing 13-year-olds than you will find in the WNBA. And the worst part is they all have power trips. We saw it again with Skylar Diggins. Skylar Diggins goes straight up, does not make contact with Kahleah Copper. Kahleah Copper jumps up in the air, winds up an elbow, clocks her in the face, and it's given as an and one. Like, these referees are seemingly trying to make the games about themselves. And I actually have a feeling it's coming from the higher-ups. I have a feeling it's coming from the higher-ups being told, you know what, like, this is a physical league. We want to show everyone it's a physical league. But then, at the same time, like, when players they'll call touch fouls. They will call phantom fouls. I've seen more phantom fouls, as in referee whistles blown, and I'm not even saying with flops. Sometimes referees can be fooled with flops. I'm seeing literal fouls where people are just running in layups, missing the layup, and it is going to the other team. There was again, the Fever game. The referees I've never seen referees go to the monitor and make so many wrong calls. I've never seen them go to the monitor and make wrong calls. They spend twice as long at the monitor as NBA refs, and still 50% of the time will come to wrong calls. It's so bad. And it's not just about the targeting of one player or a specific group of players. It is incompetent refereeing. It is absolutely incompetent refereeing, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. These referees are completely incompetent. And thank God they came to the right call with Angel Reese. Angel Reese deserved one technical foul, but she should have ended that game on the floor. Would it have made any difference? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But you know what it would have done? Is it would have stopped this whole discourse. It would stop people talking about the standard refereeing. It would stop people having to talk about Angel Reese. It would stop Lonzo Ball, one of the more popular NBA players, I'm not going to say most popular anymore, one of the more popular NBA players, coming out and saying, this is ridiculous, I'll pay your fines. It would stop that. Everything could be stopped. Every single thing that people are talking about outside of basketball in this league could literally be stopped by referees doing their jobs. And that's the truth about it. If the referees did their jobs, half of the conversations around WNBA games would not be happening. They genuinely would not be happening. Like, if the referees had have chucked Kennedy Carter from the game at that moment, and the Fever went and obviously Kennedy Carter took over after a cheap shot, and the Fever went and won that game by 15 points, there would be a little bit of discourse, but she would have been chucked out. It wouldn't be nearly as bad. Because for people saying, now the whole thing is, oh, the referees aren't trying to protect her, the league isn't trying to protect her. Like, nobody can protect somebody from running up and cheap shotting you, but referees letting it completely go like it's nothing creates a conspiracy theories that the league, these certain players, nobody's protecting Caitlin Clark. But at least if the referee calls it, then yeah, there's conversations a little bit, but the conversations are kind of nipped in the bud early. And obviously, if she gets chucked out of the game, you wouldn't see Angel Reese hugging her, because, well, if you get chucked out of the game, it's a horrible thing for your team. Either way, it's I'm looking at this and, like, thank God they came to the right call, but it shouldn't need the league to make correct calls when it's just out of pettiness from referees, when it is just incompetent refereeing. And not only are the referees putting players in danger, like, again, Skylar Diggins was targeted. That was intentional. I would be 99% sure that was intentional. And what happened yesterday to her, what happened with Caitlin Clark and Kennedy Carter was intentional. What happened with Caitlin Clark and Vivian's was intentional. Referees are not protecting these players. They're not protecting the sport, and they are not protecting the product. And people wonder why the WNBA is not growing, and people are wondering why a lot of new fans are upset. And it's not just Caitlin Clark fans. I genuinely think fans of college basketball that would have been fans of these players, whether it be Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, are watching these games and just annoyed at just the terrible standard of refereeing. And that comes from their inability to call fouls, their willingness to let people get beat up, and then their just ridiculous calling of some touch fouls, some technical fouls, and heck, chucking Angel Reese out for no reason does not help. It's been rescinded, fair enough, but it shouldn't have to be rescinded. Competent refereeing would have stopped all of this from happening.